Thank you, thank you. Okay, I think now you guys can hear me, right? Please confirm if I'm audible. So please write your answer in the chat box, guys, okay, after solving. Okay, let's solve it now. So this question is based on basically prime factorization. You have to do the prime factorization of 1296. Either you can use factor tree or you can do direct prime factorization the way you know, right? There are short forms also to do the prime factorization of 1296. So this question only expects that you know how to do the prime factorization of 1296. You just see this is even number, so first prime factor you can see is 2. So 2 times 648. Then you can write 2 times 648 is again even number, so it will be 2 times 324. This is 2 square into. Now I think you can clearly see 324, right? That's a perfect square of 18. So that is 18 square, which can further be written as 2 square. 18 is basically 2 into 9. 2 into 3 square square. 2 square into 2 square into 3 raised to 4. So that is 2 raised to basically 4 times 3 raised to 4. So that's the prime factors. And now you can see this is in the form of 2 raised to x into 3 raised to y. So you can compare which one is x and which one is y, right? So we have got x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 4. They are asking you to find the value of x plus y. So we should mark the correct option A, right? This is a tough question, okay? You all have done multiple questions of this type. And CBSE keep asking these type of questions. Let's move to the next question now. Please write your answer in the chat. You have to participate in solving the problems. Through the problems only, we'll discuss all the concepts. Read the question and tell the answer. We shouldn't take more time. Now, usually 1 or 2 minutes should be more than enough to do MCQs, especially for 10th class board exams. No? If it is taking more time, then don't waste. Okay, later on you can see those questions. So this time they are telling you if HCF of this number and this number is expressed in this form, then what is the value of M, right? So first we'll try to find out the HCF of these two numbers, and HCF, if you have to find, the best method is to do the prime factorization, right? So 144 can be written as 12 square. 12 square can be written as 2 square into 3 and then square. So that's basically 2 raised to 4 into 3 square. Prime factors of 144 are 2 raised to 4 into 3 square. That you can do by multiple methods of your own choice, okay? And then we have 180. 180, if you have to do the prime factorization, whenever we have 0 at the end of any number, it's always better to write it as 18 into that, okay? Because doing the prime factorization of the number which is ending with 0, right, or multiples of 10 are easy only, right? So 18 can be written as 2 times 3 square into 10 can be written as 2 into 5. So if I club them, 2 raised to 2 into 3 square into 5. These are the prime factorization. So if I have to calculate the HCF, we know the methods, right? We have to focus on all the common primes only. So in these two, the common primes are these and these. And then we have to take the smallest power among these, right? If we have to find LCM, then we take the largest power, but for LCM, HCF will take the smaller one. So 2 square times 3 square, 3 square. So we have 3 raised to 2. No, 2 is the smallest power which is common in both. And there is no 5 here, so no need to take 5. Now only common primes we have to focus. So that is basically 4 times 9, right? 36. But they have given the HCF is of this sort. That means this 36 can be written as 13m minus 3. Get the value of m from here. So 36 plus 3 is equal to 13m, which is 13m, right? We can cancel them by 3. So the value of m is 3 as per this. Okay. These are generic questions. They might just change the values and ask the questions. So be prepared with the concepts. No? So we'll mark the option B here. No? Let's do the next one now. I hope you all have understood. If you get any kind of doubt, you can ask in the chat. We'll discuss them. Now let's do the next one. So this is very important actually. Now we should have some idea about the number systems. Are you getting? Like prime numbers, composite numbers, especially up to 1 to 100. Please focus on them. Now, in fact, it's better idea to write all the prime numbers which are from 1 to 100 and see how many are there. Now, because in exam one or other way they may ask this question. This might come here as well as in probability chapter as well. So here they are saying that we have to find the ratio of LCM and HCF of the smallest prime number and the smallest composite number, right? That means first we should know what is smallest prime number, right? So we know that smallest prime number, right? That's too easy to know. It's 2, right? 2 is the smallest prime number. And what is the smallest composite number? We know that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these numbers, right? Here 1 is neither prime nor composite. The prime number start from here 2, 3, 5, 7. Those are the prime numbers. This 4 is the smallest composite number then. Okay, 4 is the smallest composite number. Sometimes they might ask you smallest 2-digit composite, smallest 2-digit prime. So we should be knowing those concepts. Then only we can solve this type. Okay, once we know them, the question isn't difficult. So smallest prime number is 2 and the smallest composite number here is 4. But the question is not to find out the ratio of the numbers. They are asking you to find the ratios of the LCM and HCF of these two numbers. So LCM of 2 and 4 is basically 4, right? That is too easy to calculate. We have done so many questions. And HCF will be 2. So that's why the ratio we can say. See here ratio of LCM. Now that means we have to write first LCM. Now 4 is to 2. Which is basically 2 is to 1. So we should mark the option C. Please send your answer in the comment. Okay, I know you are able to solve this. Fine. So this question I have taken so that you have this idea. Na? They might ask you the question related to the number systems. Are you getting? So are we comfortable with the prime numbers and composite numbers? Are you getting it? So they may change the number, but the question pattern may be of this type only. Okay, then let's move to the next question now. Read the question and think about the concept. Which one is the concept related to this problem? जल्दी जल्दी सॉल्व करें. The least number that is divisible by all the numbers from 1 to 10. Can you tell the smallest number which is divisible by all the numbers starting from 1 to 10? right? There is a concept directly related to it, we can apply that. Which concept shall we apply? LCM, HCF, right? So the definition of LCM actually is that only, na? It's related to the LCM definition. If you have to find the smallest number which is divisible by two given numbers A and B, the answer has to be the LCM of those two numbers. If they give you three numbers, they ask you to find the smallest number which is divisible by those three numbers, any three numbers they give, then that answer has to be the LCM of those numbers. Are you getting? So they are indirectly asking you to find the LCM of these numbers, right? And to find the LCM of this number, we can do prime factorization only, right? So 1 can be written as just 1, 2 will be 2 only, 3 no need to disturb, 4 can be written as 2 square, 5 is prime, so no need to do any manipulation there, 6 is 2 into 3, 7, 8 is 2 raised to 3, 9 is 3 square, and 10 is 2 into 5. Do we know how to calculate the LCM of this? I hope you know, right? So LCM of this number has to be the smallest prime factor which is common to all of them, right? Or which is there in this list is 2, right? And what is the highest power of 2 among all of them? It has to be this, right? 2 raised to 3. What about 3? What is the highest power of 3 in this? So that you can see here it is 3 square. Then next prime is 5, and 5 has the highest power on in all of these is 1 only, right? So it will be just 5 raised to 1. Then next prime is 7, and 7 does not have any power, it's 1 only, right? That's the last prime, right? Now we have to just multiply them. So this can be written as 8, 9, 5 into 7. That's going to be, we can multiply these two first, 8 5 is 40, and then 63. Now you multiply them. So it is 126 to 52, right? And then 0. So the number has to be 2520. Some people even remember this, but it's fine. So the smallest number which is divisible by all the numbers from 1 to 10 is 2520. Can you guys tell me what will be the next smallest number which will be divisible by all the number from 1 to 10? Please write in the chat. What will be the next number? This is the smallest one, right? What will be the another number just after this? Okay, so the answer for that has to be 2520 into 2 actually. Okay, that will be the second smallest number. In fact, all the numbers of the type 2520 into some integer k are divisible by all the numbers from 1 to 10. Sometimes they ask the question related to this also. Okay, so remember that. In fact, we have some question related to that also in coming part. So that should be clear. They might ask you any number. It was from 1 to 10. They might ask you any number from 5 to 12 or any list of number. But the procedure has to be this only. We'll try to find out the prime factors and the LCM. The definition of LCM is, it is the least number which is multiple of both the numbers whose LCM you are finding. Fine. Now let's move to the next one. This is based on the other concept. That's also important one. So I hope we have done it, right? They are telling that HCF of two number is 27 and their LCM is 162. If one of the number is 54, then find the other number, right? One or the other way, they do ask one question based on this concept, right? So the concept is for any two number, if I have two number, then LCM of those two numbers into HCF of those two number is equal to the product of the number. This is the concept. This is basically one of another formula which we should remember. Okay, they ask the question. So just apply them. They have given HCF 27 and LCF 162. So it is 162 times 27 is equal to 54 is one of the number, another number we don't know. Let's call that number as B. V is the one which we have to find, right? Now, one more thing is, please remember, do not multiply them, okay? What we can do instead, we can bring 54 to the left hand side and cancel it instead. Na? So if you are going into the multiplication, you are actually making it more lengthier, okay? It will take time to solve. So B has to be 162 into 27 upon 54. We can cancel this by 2 and this again will get cancelled by, right, this. So the second number has to be 81, which is actually option D, right? So our answer will be D. Okay guys, so let's move to the next question. Please remember, and this rule is only applicable when we have two numbers, okay? If three numbers are there, then the rule will be different. Hello Samarth, solve the questions and send the answer in the chat, okay? Let's do the next one. I hope we all are comfortable in these kind of questions, okay? All type of questions are there. Some of them might be very easy for you, some of them may be good, some of them may be where you have to learn it. This is also very standard one, they ask it regularly. Huh? In your exams also you might have seen almost in every exam one such question. Send the answer in the chat box quickly, guys. So we have A and B positive integers and they have given P and Q primes, right? That's very important. Instead of numbers, they have given symbols. P and Q are the prime numbers. So if I have to calculate HCF, good part about these questions is you don't even have to do prime factorization, right? If numbers are there, then there you have to do prime factorization. But in these cases, even prime factorizations are not needed, right? So HCF has to be the lowest power of P square and then Q cube, right? And LCM has to be the highest power. So P cube into Q raised to 4, right? So they have given this in this form. So we can say M has to be 2 and N 3 and then R has to be here 3 and S 4. Now put these values, so M plus N, that will be 5 into 735. Are you getting? See, this question actually, what CBSE has done, earlier they used to ask very simple one. They were giving A, B, what is the LCM? Now next time what did they ask? They asked what is the LCM of this. And now since those kind of questions almost all the students knows how to solve, they have just taken into the next level of this type. But you all can solve this anyway, right? No matter how they complicate, if you are very comfortable with the concept. Good. So correct answer, guys. Next question now. Please take less time, okay? In MCQs, ideal time should be 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, not more than that. If it is taking more time, then you can keep it for last, if you complete all the questions, then at the end you see those questions once again, and do not leave any MCQs unattempted in your board exams, okay? Because there is no negative marks. So in the worst case, if you have no idea about some of the question, then mark some of the options, okay? You can take calculated risk. Okay, now do the next question. Please send your answers quickly. That's good. So I think now we shall discuss, You have to find the smallest, largest number, right, which divides this number and leaves remainder 3, 5 and 7. So whenever this kind of question comes, na, it's not completely divisible, it leaves remainder. Are you getting? So remove the remainders from the given numbers. So if I remove 303 from the number 303, it becomes 300, right? Then from here, if I remove 5, it becomes 450. And then when we remove 7 from here, it is 750. Now the question is, do we need to take LCM or HCF? So previously we had one question where we were taking LCM, right? So in LCM, it's actually the least number which is divisible by those number. If they ask you what is the greatest number which is divisible by these, then in those cases we have to find out the HCF. So we can find the HCF of this number, and that's very easy, right? Without prime factorization also we can see all of these numbers are multiples of 150. So that's 150 into 2, 150 into 3 and 150 into 5, right? So you can clearly see highest common factor of these three numbers is 150. So you can write 150. You could also do prime factorization, guys, whichever way you're comfortable, okay? Do not change the way you solve the question, okay? If some of the method you already know how to solve, use that only. No need to change it, okay? Unless other method is extremely easy. Fine, next, do the next. Yeah, this question sometimes they ask it in subjectives, okay? 2-mark question. They may ask you to prove it. But here I have taken in MCQ so that you have idea about the question. Even if they ask you descriptive way, then also you can explain it, okay? We'll explain it here. And I think here you don't have to do much calculation. Just by looking at the question, we can answer. Be quick. What should be the correct option? Right? Some of you might already remember it actually, right? Because you might have done 3 to 4 times, and this is such an easy question which automatically we remember, right? 8 raised to n, right? The descriptive question will be prove that 8 raised to n never ends with 0, right? And in those questions, what do? We do prime factorization. 8 raised to n can be written as 2 raised to 3 whole raised to n, which is basically 2 raised to 3n. If a number has to ends with 0, it must have at least one factor of 2 and one factor of 5, right? At least one of both must be there, but you can clearly see there is no 5, right? So since there is no 5, it can never ends with 0. So we'll mark option D. Though this question has multiple other possibilities also, okay? But not for the CBSE exams, right? For JEE or other exams, we do discuss. Are you getting? There is some other number also which it never ends with. Are you getting? In fact, you know that any powers of 2, either it ends with 2, it ends with 4, it ends with 8, or it ends with 6. So 8 raised to n will never ends with 1. It will never end with 3. It will never end with 5, 6 and 7. 5 and 7. It will never end with 9 as well. Are you getting? So obviously I was just trying to discuss this question, descriptive part, but the question is only these are the possibilities. Are you getting? What if in place of 0 they had given 3? I would have marked that option only. Are you getting? I hope you have understood. This is important point to catch. Are you getting? Though it's not that important for the school exam point of view, but we should know this type of things. Fine, let's do the next now. Don't be in hurry, na. Sometimes it's important to read the question, please, huh? Have this good habit. The least perfect square number which is divisible by 8, 15, 20 and 22. There might be infinitely many possible answers, but you have to find the least one, least number. Guys, send the answer in the comment after solving. Please solve along with me only, so that the revision will be complete for this chapter. Okay, no need to do much questions after this. We'll try to cover each and every type of questions here itself. सबका आंसर आ गया? Okay, so whenever we are finding the least number which is divisible by, right, we have to find out LCM of that. Are you getting? First we should find LCM, and for LCM prime factorization, so 8 can be written as 2 cube, 15 is 3 into 5, 20 is 2 square into 5, and then 22 is 2 into 11. What is the LCM of these? 2 raised to 3 into 3 into 5, right, into 11. This is the LCM. So this is the smallest number actually, okay? This is the smallest number which is divisible by all of these number. And I told you in one of the previous question also, the multiple of this 2 raised to 3 into 5 into 11 into some number k. This will always be divisible by this number, right? But we want the number which is perfect square of that type, right? So that means you have to take the smallest value of k so that this number becomes perfect square, right? And for perfect square, you know that prime factors na should have even powers. That means we must have this k must consist 1 2 so that it becomes 2 raised to even power 1 3 1 5 and 1 11. So the smallest number has to be 2 raised to 4, 3 raised to 2, 5 raised to 2 into 11 raised to 2, and just multiply them, and whichever option comes, that has to be the answer then. Are you getting? That's very nice, guys. So most of you have got the correct answer only. Very good. So it's A, right? 4356000. Yeah, right? You could have multiplied them, or just by looking at the option also you can mark. Fine, let's do the next question now. Remember that now this k has to be there into the picture for some of these type of questions. Okay, we have some more of this kind, so let's do the other now. Yeah, usually we don't solve this kind of question. Even CBSE does not ask many of these kind, but I have taken one algebraic expression based question so that now in case they ask it, if they want to go a little bit beyond what they usually ask, then we know it actually. So we have algebraic expressions. How do we find LCM, HCF of algebraic expressions? Okay, so if we have to find LCM and HCF of algebraic expressions, guys, remember we have to apply the same concept. Instead of prime factorization, we have to do factorization of those algebraic expressions, right? And you can clearly see this is already factored form. First one is factored already, right? This is 8x square times x plus 1, and the second number can be written as 12x into it's x square minus 1 square, which is of the type a square minus b square, right? So a square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b. Fine. So if I have to find LCM, Focus on each and every term. Okay, first focus should be on the number 8 and 12. Can we find the LCM of 8 and 12 quickly? Right? So that has to be 24. And then here we have x square and here we have x. So just the way we find the LCM of numbers, we have to take the highest power. Na? So we have to take x square here. Then we have x plus 1 here, x plus 1 here. That will come. And then x minus 1 is here, but here it is not there. But in LCM, it still comes. Right? So this has to be the LCM. Now we can simplify it and see which option matches as per this. So 24 x square. This is again a plus b into a minus b. We can write it as x square minus 1. So see which one is the most suitable option. Right? Let's see. Okay. So the rule works just like prime factors. Now each factor will be considered as a prime number basically. Okay, in algebra. Good. Let's do the next one now. So now we have few assertion region questions. Read the questions properly in assertion region. If option A and B are there, then that's little tricky. Are you getting? So please read them properly. So which one is correct option, guys? Please send the answer now. I think I hope we have understood that now. If product of two number is 5780 and their HCF is 17, their LCM will be 340. Right? So we might use that concept. LCM into HCF will be the product of the number. LCM is 340 and then HCF is 17, right? So into 17 and the product of the number is 5780, right? So we can check it, right? So 5780 is the product. Are they same? Because the formula is the product of the number should be equal to the LCM into HCF. Check karo. So it is 17 square 289 into 2 into 10, which is 5780 only, right? The product is same. But remember one more point. The second statement of this tells you HCF is always a factor of LCM. Are you getting it? Please check that. HCF is always a factor of LCM. That is correct, na? HCF is smaller number, that will always be a factor. So here can you check? LCM is 340 and HCF is 17. So that is 340 upon 70, right? That's a natural number, divisible, right? This is divisible. So this statement holds here. Are you getting it? So both the statement looks correct here, right? Now question is, shall we mark option A or B here? Which option shall we mark? Both options are correct. Option A tells you R is the correct explanation of A. So even though we know that HCF is factor of LCM, are you getting? But there is other methods to find the LCM, right? Because there are so many factors of the LCM. One of the factor is LCM. So that does not justify the assertion actually, right? So that's why we shouldn't mark option A. It should be option B only. Both the statements are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation. I hope you are getting the point. So we'll mark option B and then move to the next question. We are not marking A. The problem actually is it's not the explanation. Are you getting? It is just saying one simple fact. But there are many other factors to consider to find the LCM and HCF. Okay, so I hope you all have got it. Let's do the next one now. Yeah, please remember, assertion region will have some confusing question. Yeah, another assertion region. Yeah, if the region was LCM into HCF is equal to product of the number, then we should have marked option A. You're right. Yeah, now read this question and answer. So it's more of a conceptual question, and there is not much calculation here. But here, don't be in a hurry. Huh? Read the question properly and then choose the right option. Okay. So they are asking you to find the LCM, right? LCM of 6K and 12K. This is very straightforward, right? LCM of 6K and 16K has to be, can you guys tell me? LCM of 6K and 16K. So we can take the LCM of 6 and 16. That has to be 48, right? So it has to be 48K, but they had given K. So whenever this kind of question you get, where assertion is false, in those cases you can see region you don't even have to read, right? You can directly mark the option based on one statement itself. Are you getting? But here we'll obviously read that. Remember that has to be this. So assertion is false here. So we'll mark option D. But is the region correct? Can you check? HCF of X and Y is 1 if X and Y are co-primes. We know what co-primes are, right? Co-prime means that there is no number other than 1 which is multiple of both, okay? Or which divides both the numbers. So it has to be 1. And what is the LCM of X and Y if they are co-primes? Can you guys answer? If X and Y are co-prime, then what is the LCM of X and Y? Right, na? So it will be just X into Y. We multiply. Right? Just like you see, if I have to find LCM of 5 and 8, what do? You just multiply, na? So 40 will be the LCM. If they have common factor, then only we do prime factorization and find the LCM and HCF. But if they are co-prime, HCF has to be 1 and LCF has to be the product of the number. Just remember that, na? They do ask that question also in MCQ. And one more thing, na? This is very important. If something in common both of them, then you can say that it has to be K times LCM of 6 and 16, guys. Okay, if you have common in two numbers, you just take that thing common and whatever number left remaining, you can take the LCM of that. And by using that fact, you can even find the LCM of very bad numbers. Okay, usually we don't do those. If I ask you to find the LCM of 6 root 2 and 4 root 2, though they don't ask question like that, if I have to find LCM of 6 root 2 and 4 root 2, what do we do in that case? Can you check anything in common in both of them? So you can clearly see 2 root 2 is common. That means K is 2 root 2 here. So this can be written as 2 root 2 and then LCM of 3 and 2. What is the LCM of 3 and 2? That's 6, right? So 2 root 2 into 6. So we can find even LCM of irrational number with the help of this concept, okay? That's why here I wrote K is any real number, rational, irrational or even negative. Are you getting? This may not be that important now, but in coming years, it will be important for you guys. Now, we'll have some questions even in 11th and 12th where we use them. Okay, even to find the LCM and HCF of fraction, we can use that. If they want to go a little beyond, then they might ask you a question of this type. LCM of 2 by 3 and 1 by 6. We might not have done question of that type, but with the help of this concept, we can still answer them. LCM of 2 by 3 and 1 by 6. Right? So what do you do in these questions? Try to make the denominator same here. Are you getting? So LCM, if you have to make the denominator same, it has to be 4 by 6 and 1 by 6. So we can clearly see 1 by 6 is common. So it has to be 1 by 6 times LCM of 4 comma 1. And we know how to find LCM of 4 and 1, right? It has to be 4. So answer has to be 4 by 6. That is 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is the LCM of this number. In case they ask, we should answer it like that. Na? Usually they don't ask. So I just wanted to convey this concept so that you know it. Okay, if it comes in grade 11th and 12th, you know it already. Fine, guys. Let's move to the next question. So these were a few MCQs and search and reason question. Now let's move to 2-mark questions. Na? Please start solving. Yeah, this is the first type of questions. Once you have solved it, please write the message. You have completed it. You have to prove that these two numbers are composite. So I think you guys must have done the first part, right? In these kind of questions, you try to take common only. That's the best choice. Are you getting? So the first number 11 into 13 into 15 plus 12 into 22 into 31. Do you see any common in them? Right, so you can clearly see 11 here and 22. They have something in common, right? We can take 11 common. So this is 11 times. If I have taken out 11, 13 into 15 is left, plus from 22, if you have taken 11 common, 2 is left. So it is 12 times 2 times 31. You don't have to do complete prime factorization to prove that it is composite number, guys. You just have to show it as product of at least two numbers. So here you can clearly see this number can be written as 11 into this number, right? And if any number is 11 and then another factor also, then it has to be composite, right? Why? Because it is product of two natural number, right? Clearly, therefore, (11 times 13 times 15 plus 12 into 22 into 31 is composite, which is product of 11 and 13 into 15 plus 12 into 2 into 31. We don't have to simplify. I have seen some students do simplification of this number as well, but it is not required. You just have to write that number. You just have to see that it's product of two natural numbers, no, and none of them is 1. Fine. Now, what about the second question? In second question, you can clearly see there is nothing in common. Do you see any common thing? Do we have any common number here in this and these two? Yeah. Please try the second part. Na? Second question is good one. How do we answer the second question? Can you guys tell me the logic? Because you don't see any common in them. Okay, so let's discuss now. Now you can clearly see in this question, even though there is nothing in common, this number is odd. This is also odd and this is also odd. And we know that whenever we multiply only odd numbers, the product is also odd, right? So can I say this first part must be an odd number altogether when we multiply them? And same logic is applicable even for the second part. This is odd number and this is odd. An odd number into odd number is again another odd number, right? That means you are basically adding two odd numbers. And if I add two odd number, will that number be even? Right? So when we add them, it has to be a even number. And we know that the only even prime number is 2. And this is definitely greater than 2. So can I say it must be a composite number? So that is the logic you have to write, guys. Okay? You will clearly say here now in explanation, since 101, 103 and 501 are odd numbers, therefore 101 into 103 into 501 is odd, and 401 and even 301 are odd. That means 401 into 301 is odd. Therefore 101 into 103 into 501 plus 401 into 301 must be odd plus odd, which is even. Are you getting? That's why given number is composite. Okay, that definitely this number is greater than 2, right? So this is how I will explain. Though they might ask you a question where something is common in there most of the time in the board exams, but in case if they want to test the odd and even numbers concept from you, then we should know this. I hope you all have understood, right? You all got the answer by your own. Good. Okay, if you have done it, then let's move for the next question. This is word problems. Now please read the question. Okay, usually in the word problem there are two type of question. One type where you take the LCM and one type where you take the HCF. Now it depends on the question, guys. Read that properly. Okay, whether we have to take the LCM or HCF. Okay, I think now we can discuss it, right? So they're telling that there are 144 cartons of Coke and 90 cartons of Pepsi cans stacked in a canteen. If each of stack is of the same height and if it contains carton of the same drink, what should it be the greatest number of cartons each stack should have? Shall we take the LCM or HCF? So sometimes this is also giving you hint, greatest number. That means greatest number. So greatest number is actually involved in the highest common factor. That is GCD basically. The another name for HCF is GCD, which is greatest common divisor. So whenever they use the word greatest, most likely it has to be related to HCF, and whenever they use the word least or smallest, that has to be related to LCM. So we just have to find out the HCF of these two numbers. So 144 is basically 12 square, which is basically 2 square into 3 the whole square, which is 2 raised to 4 into 3 square. You can do prime factorization in your own way, right? And 90 can be written as 3 square into 2 into 5, right? 2 into 3 square into 5. And if you have to find out the HCF of this number, the smallest common primes power, na? So 2 raised to 1 into 3 raised to 2, which is 18. And now you can clearly see in the word problems, actually you do have very less number of steps, right? And sometimes you might think they have given 2 marks, we should definitely write few more things. Are you getting? Or even sometimes they give you 3-mark question of this type only. So what you do, just mention the conclusion, okay? So that might at least increase 1 step, right? So you can write, therefore, what would be the greatest number of cartons each? So each stack would have 18 cartons. Are you getting? So this is how you will answer. Are you getting? In fact, in this question, this type of question, one more point they can ask, na? 18 cartons, right? So can you tell me here how many stacks of Coke cans you will have? How many stacks Coke cartons will have? So that has to be 144 upon 18. Are you getting? And that is 4, right? 8. So there will be 8 stack of Coke cartons, and if you have to find how many stacks will be there of Pepsi cans, then it has to be 19 upon 18, which is 5. So there will be 5 stack of Pepsi can. So if they wanted to ask the same question for 3 marks, they would have added those 2 points. Or even this is a suitable question for case study as well, where you have got 3 questions. Are you getting? So just remember that. Now, please try to understand the logic behind why do we find the LCM and HCF. Okay? If you can imagine, it will be better. Fine, guys. So let's move to the next question now. And this is how you have to do the explanation. Nothing extraordinary you have to do. Just write the step, whatever steps comes to your mind. Okay? If your answer is correct, most of the time you will get the full marks only. They will not deduct any marks because you have written 4 steps instead of 5 steps. Okay? That's not a problem. Now let's do the next. This is another word problem. In word problem, if you are not getting the idea whether we shall take the LCM or HCF, please read the question again and again. Okay, if you read it 2 to 3 times, things will be more and more clear. Okay, but usually when you practice, you might have done 10 to 12 type of word problems, so you might already have an idea. But still, don't be in hurry. Okay, it is possible that they might twist the question. Are you getting? So try to utilize the given 3 hours in the board exams. Okay, in hurry, do not make the mistakes. Reading the question is important. Okay, so now let's answer that question. Let's see whether we have to find this time LCM or HCF. So 3 bells are there and they are ringing at an interval 9, 12 and 15. If they start tolling together, after what time will they next toll together? Are you getting? So they all are starting at the same time, but after interval of 9 minutes, first bell will ring, second 12 and third after 15, right? So when will they ring again together, right? Is it LCM or HCF? So in this kind of question, it's actually the LCM. Are you getting it? First, let's find the LCM and then I will tell you actually the logic behind this kind of question. Now, how do we think it has to be the LCM? So 9 can be written as 3 square. 12 can be written as 2 square times 3. And then 15 can be written as 3 into 5. So if I have to find the LCM of these numbers, 9, 12 and 15, then it will be 2 raised to 2 into 3 raised to 2 into 5, right? So 20, no? 5 into 4, 20 into 9, that is 180. But it has to be in minutes. Are you getting? That means after 180 minutes they are going to ring again together, which is actually, yeah, you should convert that into hours, na, 3 hours. First time if they start together, if they start together, then the first time they will be ringing together will be after 3 hours. Are you getting it? Yeah, correct. Now here again previous question type part might be asked, na. So in this 180 minute, right, first time before they all ring together, how many times the first bell will ring? Then that has to be 180 upon 9, right? That means 20 times. The first ring will be ringing 20 times till they all ring together. This has to ring 180 upon 12, right? That means 15. And this will ring 12, right? So even though they all started together, but after 20 times it rings, 15 times this second will ring, and then 12 times this rings. Now they all will be ringing together after this. Are you getting? Fine. Now there are another versions of this question as well. You can relate it like that. Now there are 3 people, they are starting at the same point. The question is, there is one person who walks for 9 meter, you can say, okay, 9 meter and then take the rest. So 9 meter and then he is taking the rest at this place. Then he will run for another 9 meter and then take the rest, and so on. Similarly, the second person, he will take the rest after traveling or walking for 12 meter. Then again after 12 meter. Are you getting it? And then the third person will walk for 15 meter and then take rest. Again 15 meter and then take the rest. Are you getting? So if they ask you in this question, even though they all started at the same point, when will they will be taking the rest at the same point? Are you getting? When will they all take the rest at the same time? Then that has to be the actually LCM of 9, 12 and 15 as well. So this question actually is related to this. Are you getting it? So the well question, or if there are 3 people, they are walking or they are running, this is how you have to solve that question. Okay, it has to be related to the LCM. Okay guys, I hope you have understood. Along with this question, we understood even this part. Now let's do the next. Now after solving, please send the answer as well. Okay, this is also one of the very hard question, right? They ask it regularly. They cannot complete the paper without having question of irrational number, right? And there are few type of question. In this session I have taken all type of question they usually ask. Okay, so it will cover every type. Just solve them. You know, it's a 2-mark question. That's why they have not asked you to prove root 2 is irrational number, right? Or root 3 is irrational number. Sometimes they give even 3 marks or even 5 marks to prove that. It is given in this case that root 3 is irrational number. Then you have to prove that this is irrational. That's one of the easy question. Okay, I'm sure all of you will be able to solve it. So let's do it together. So whenever they ask you to prove the number is irrational, we assume that the number is rational, right? So let 5 plus 3 root 2 is an irrational number. Sorry, you have to assume that it is rational number, right? It's a rational number. And we know that every rational number can be written as P upon Q, या फिर A upon B, where A comma B are co-primes. Please mention this in every question of this type. And B is non-zero. Now let's simplify. So whenever question of this type comes, we just do the cross multiplication, keep rational terms one side, irrational another side. So we can cross multiply, we'll get 5v plus 3 root 2b is equal to a. Then 5b we can send to the right hand side because that is rational part. So 3 root 2b is equal to a minus 5b. And then from left hand side, all the parts apart from the irrational we can take to the right side. So root 2, and then we are dividing by 3b. And now we have separated rational terms and irrational terms. Clearly you can see it's given, this is irrational. It's given, we don't have to prove. If it is a 2-mark question, they are not going to ask you to prove root 2 or root 3 is irrational. Even if they had not given this part, still you could have assumed that root 2 is irrational number only, guys, okay? Sometimes they don't write, are you getting? So if they don't write, do not waste time in proving it, because they are not going to give extra marks for it, but it will take time, right? And that time will be a problem for you in solving the letter question. That's irrational, and this has to be a rational number, right? Because this is ratio of two rational number, rational, right? So here we can say, but we know rational number can't be equal to irrational. That means our assumption is wrong. That means 5 plus 3 root 2 must be an irrational number. Please write the conclusion properly, okay? So that you give good impression and they do not cut any marks, even half. There will be multiple ways to ask this question. They have given 5 plus 3 root 2. They might even just tell you 2 plus root 2, or it might be 5 plus 3 root 2 the whole square. It might be that question. They might ask you to prove that 5 plus 3 root 2 the whole square is irrational. So in that case, we can apply a plus b the whole square identity and simplify, and then we can follow these steps. Yeah, so please write, before exam we must be comfortable with all the type of question usually they ask, okay? If you think that some of the questions are extremely easy, you already know it, still before exam at least one such question you must do, okay? Fine. Now let's do the next one now. This is another, oh, I think this question we did, right, already. So yeah, we can skip this. This one we have already done, guys. So let's move to the next. This is another word problem. Read the question and think what to do. HCF or LCM. This time they have given dimension of a room, length, breadth and height. So this is the length, this is breadth and this is the height. Now they want to measure length, breadth and height of the room. Are you getting? And you know there can be multiple ways to measure the things, right? So what do we do? Do we take the LCM or HCF? Right? What will be the size of the stick, right? You can also understand HCF of the number is actually smaller than the numbers, right? Usually smaller. It can be equal also, but it will be smaller usually. And LCM is always bigger than all the number whose LCM you are taking, right? So if you have to measure the room, do we have to have the stick with which you are measuring bigger than the length or the breadth? Obviously it cannot be, right? So by using that logic also you can tell we need to take HCF here, right? Not LCF. Now one more question. Here the lengths are given in meter and centimeter as well, right? So do we need to convert everything in terms of centimeter or meter? Because if we convert into meter, we are going to get decimals, right? So whenever we have measurement of this kind, try to convert them natural numbers only. Are you getting it? That means it's ideal to convert these numbers into centimeter. Okay, and then we'll take the HCF, right? So length of the room can be written as 850 centimeter, right? If we convert that into centimeter, the breadth will be 625 centimeter and height has to be 475 centimeter. And since we have to find out the HCF of this number, we must do prime factorization of this number, right? So please do prime factorization of them. Clearly you can see all of these numbers are multiple of 5, right? So doing prime factorization may not be that big problem, right guys? So 850 can be written as 17 into 5 into 10. This is basically 2 into 5 square into 17. Okay, you may have your own way to do prime factorization, guys. There are lot of ways to do that. So whichever is comfortable for you, go ahead with that only. Okay. Then 625 actually is perfect square, right? That's 25 square. That's why we tell you to remember few of the squares. And this is basically 5 raised to 4 centimeter. And height is 475. So 5 times, when we divide by this, 5 times 9, right? This is 5 times 19, right? 5 square times 19. So therefore HCF will be very easy to do the HCF, right? Only 5 is the common prime among them. And what is the smallest power of 5 which is common in all? That is 5 square. That is 25. And what will be the unit? We must write the unit as well. Is it centimeter or meter? Right? So this has to be the centimeter because these dimensions we have taken in centimeter. So the longest rod that can measure the dimension of the room has to be of 25 centimeter. Please mention the conclusion. And yeah, I told you, right, whenever they use word greatest, it is usually related to HCF, and whenever they use least or smallest, it is related to LCM, right? So they have used longest, that means greatest rod, greatest length. That's why it was also making sense to take the HCF. Are you getting? Please don't make mistake in these questions. If you are needing 5 or 10 extra seconds to verify whether LCM or HCF, give that time and get the right answer only. No need to take risk in this. Okay? So shall we do the next question now? Yeah. Find the least number that is divisible by all the integers from 6 to 12. Just now, few minutes ago only we discussed a question where similar concept was used. Read the question and answer it. Okay, so again they are using the word least number, right? And whenever they ask least number that is divisible by these number, that means we have to find out the LCM, right? But all the number from 6 to 12. If they tell you the words, the integers from 6 to 12, if they do not mention anything, that means you have to include 6 and 12 as well, okay? Many times they use the word inclusive also, so there will not be confusion, but if they don't use, then you can include those numbers. Are you getting? So the numbers are 6. If you have to do the prime factorization, it is 2 into 3 only. 7 will be just 7, no need to do anything there. 8 has to be 2 cube. 9 has to be 3 square. 10 has to be 2 into 5. 11 has to be 11 only, right? It's a prime number. And 12 is 2 raised to 2 into 3. So if I have to find LCM of this number, what is the smallest prime in all of them common? Or the smallest prime is 2 here, right? And what is the largest power of 2? It's 3. So 2 raised to 3 into the next prime is 3 and highest power of 3 is 2. So 3 square. Then next prime is 5 in all of this number and highest power is 1 only, right? So 5. Next prime is 7. Then we have 11. So this is the smallest number that is divisible by all of the numbers from 6 to 12. Now we can multiply them. And to multiply them, you know that whenever we have to do multiplication, multiplying 2's and 5's are easy, right? So we can multiply these and these together, right? So 2 raised to 3 is 8, 8 5 is 40 into 9 into 77, right? So that is 360 into 77, and that you can multiply. So I think answer is 27720. Yeah, you can check the calculus. This has to be the answer. Understood? So now some of the concepts will be repeated now. In MCQs, we try to cover every type of questions, and now in 2 marks and 3 marks, some of them will be repeated. So use those concepts. So let's move to the next question now. Yeah. This is also somehow related to the previous question only, but since they ask it, I have brought it here. Na? Find the smallest 6-digit number that is exactly divisible by 15, 24 and 36. Please do, okay, and answer in the chat, guys. I want you all to solve it. Right, so here also we have to find out the LCMs of this number first, right? So in the solution, 15 can be written as 3 into 5. I know you all will be able to solve, but let's do it together since we have limited time here. Then it is 2 raised to 3 into 3, and 36 is 2 square into 3 square. So LCM of 15, 24 and 36 will be 2 raised to 3 into 3 raised to 2 into 5. That is 40 into 9, no? 360. So 360 is the smallest number that is divisible by 15, 24 and 36, right? But we need to find the smallest 6-digit number, right? So what do we write after that? The multiple of this LCM, every number which is multiple of 360 will be divisible by this number, right? And there are infinitely many such numbers. Therefore, the numbers which are divisible by 15, 24, 36 is 360 times some number k. and since we want it to be smallest 6-digit number, can we say for smallest 6-digit number, (360 times k must be greater than or even equal to, you can say, 6-digit number. What is the smallest 6-digit number? 1, and then we will have 5 zeros. Can we find the smallest such k which satisfies this? Yeah, we can solve, right? So we can cancel 1 0 1 0. K will be greater than equal to 10,000 upon 36. Simplify that. So it has to be 4 into 9 2500 upon 9. Can we find out the approximate value of that? That we can do, right? Yes, that's right, Dhanvin. 18 266 point something, right? So the smallest k must be 267. Therefore, smallest or required number, we can say required number. Yeah, please check the calculation. 2500 upon 9, is it 266 point something? So k has to be 267 because k is integer. So the answer has to be 360 times 267. Okay, that we can multiply and write the final answer. I just wanted to explain the concept here. Yeah, in this question, another variety might be, they might ask you what is the largest 6-digit number. So in that case, what will you do? You will divide largest 6-digit number, that is this, upon 360. So k will be just greater than that number in that case. Oh, calculation. Check the calculation. Yeah, it is 7, 276 point something. You're right, beta, Tanvika. Correct. So 360 into 277, you can multiply. Yeah, him I got right, na? Yeah, I was explaining here, what if they ask you the largest number? Then in place of taking 1 and then 5 zeros, it has to be all 6 nines, right? So just go through this concept once and solve 1 or 2 questions. And one more thing, guys, now after the class, you can solve questions from our website, the lampclasses.com. I have kept chapter wise around 15 to 16 questions. There also I have tried to cover every type of concepts. So if you want to practice the question, you can just log in. No need to log in, right? Directly you can see the download section and solve those questions. Good thing is you have the solutions of those questions also there. So you can verify your answers. So this is how we do question where they ask you the smallest or largest number divisible by the given numbers. Let's do the next question now, guys. Okay, so those were 2 mark question. I think previous question they might give you even 3 marks, na? So don't go by this, na? If I am telling 2 number or 2 marks or 3 mark question, some 2 marks can be of 3 marks type here, huh? So 1 mark here and there it is possible. Yeah, now this is the most important question actually, I would say. Proving irrationality of any number. Let's do this quickly. It's the most important one actually, okay? Every year they ask one question. They might even sometimes give you 5 marks for this, but here I have taken in 3 marks, because 3 marks is ideal actually for this kind of question. Prove that root 3 is irrational number. Prove that root 2 is irrational number or root 5 is irrational number. All of them we solve it by using the same method. Method does not change. So it's just a practice for all of you, na? And if you already know this, then this should be the last time you are doing the question of this type, na? Write all the steps properly so that we don't lose any marks here. The website is the lampclasses.com. .com. Okay, here you have chapter wise questions with solution. Okay, so I hope you have done it now. So once again, I'm writing, just verify your answer. I know you all have done it correctly only. Let root 3 is a rational number. That should be the first step. If they tell you root 3, root 2, root 5, all of them will solve by the same method. And whenever we have a rational number, we can take it as P upon Q. I am taking, you can take A upon B. It's up to you. You can take any letters, guys. Okay, that should not affect the. And please mention what P and Q are. Here, P comma Q are co-primes. And Q should be non-zero. Denominator cannot be 0, right? That violates the mathematical rule if it is. Now what do you do? Just cross multiply. So root 3 times Q must be P. Now can we square both the sides? Right? If two numbers are equal, then their square will also be equal. Square both sides. So this will become 3 times Q square is equal to P square. Right? Now can I say if P square is equal to 3Q square? P square must be divisible by 3, or you can say 3 must divide P square, right? Because P and Q are integers, they are co-prime integers. So from here we can say 3 must divide P square. And now here comes the theorem. Theorem was, in fact in NCERT also it was written, if a prime number P divides A square, if a prime number P divides A square, then P also divides A. I'm just writing that statement. And one more thing, based on this statement itself, there can be a MCQ question. The statement is, if a prime, now prime only, if it is composite, then we cannot say it. If a prime P divides A square, where A is integer, then P also divides A. Just remember that. Question might be there based on just this statement in MCQ or even assertion and reason. So 3 must divide P square. There should not be any confusion here. If you have confusion, then in place of taking P and Q, guys, you take A and B as the co-prime numbers here. So if 3 divide P square, then can I say 3 must also divide P? Must divide P. And if 3 divides P, that means P is actually a multiple of 3. So can I say P has to be 3 times some number C for some integer C. There should not be any confusion here, guys. Some integer C, right? And now can we replace P as 3C in this equation? So this becomes 3Q square is equal to P square. P is 3C. So 3C square, 9C square. That means we can cancel. So Q square is actually 3C square. Similar situation again came, right? Q square is 3C square. That means, can we now say this Q square must be divisible by 3, or you can say 3 must divide Q square? So from here you can say 3 must divide Q square. Then only this equation is true. If it does not, then this equation has no meaning. So 3 must divide q square. And if 3 divides q square using the same theorem, can we say 3 must divide q, right? Now what we got now? P is multiple of 3 and even q is multiple of 3. If root 3 was rational number, then P and Q must be co-prime here. But what we got? P and Q, both of them should be multiple of 3. That's clearly a contradiction, you can say. Whatever we assumed and whatever we are getting are totally different. That simply means whatever we have assumed is not correct. And whatever we had assumed, now what we had assumed, that root 3 is rational, right? So that's wrong. It means root 3 has to be irrational. Are you getting it? So we can say which is clearly a contradiction. Right? That means root 3 must be an irrational number. Do not skip the last part. Conclusion is very important the way I have written, guys. Okay, and no need to mention this. If you want to mention, if you want to be very sure of what you have written, it's fine. Yeah, you can mention this statement. If you're mentioning this statement, it's more compact proof actually. Okay, but even if you don't mention this, it's fine. This shouldn't cut any marks for it. But if you want to be on the safer side, yeah, you can mention that rule. Okay, this is the theorem. I wrote this theorem so that if they ask MCQ or assertion region question, you have that statement in mind, guys. Okay, that's good. Check whether you have written all of these statements. I know, no? I think at last part, some book write more elaborate explanation. But the bare minimum requirement will be this only, okay? You can write more than this, but at least this much is important to write. Okay, so all of you might have done this question completely by your own, right? Because this is the question which you are practicing, right? Since very first, right, chapter, no? So assume that this is the last time you are doing, no? No need to do that again and again. But yeah, if you are not comfortable, then give some time and learn this, okay? Because this is very important, guys, okay? If anyone can predict any question, then it has to be this kind of question only. Are you getting? And it's maths. Conceptually, they might ask you similar concept based question, but value they can change and they can make new question. Okay, guys, so let's move to the next question now. We have understood how to prove irrationality. Okay, now let's do this one. Yeah, this is another question where how you start solving is important. There can be many ways to approach, but the question what they have given, we have to apply that fact only. Okay, before you start solving, I'm telling you, you have to prove this is irrational. And I have seen people writing this statement. If two numbers are irrational, then their sum will be irrational. That is completely wrong statement. Even in MCQ, they might ask you, sum of two irrational number may be rational. Are you getting? So that conclusion, if you are writing for this, it has to be wrong. Are you getting it? An example of two irrational number whose sum is rational is very easy to give. One might give 1 plus root 2. This is irrational number. You can prove also. And 1 minus root 2. This is also another irrational number. But when you will add them, the sum is basically 2. That means it's rational. Though it is possible 1 plus root 2 and another number is 2. If I add them, this is 3 plus root 2, so which is irrational. So sum of two irrational number may be rational or irrational. It depends on the number. We cannot say with surety without knowing the number. Are you getting it? So MCQ can also have question based on this. So what they have given in this question, root 5 is irrational number, guys. They have given root 5 irrational number. They have not told whether root 3 is irrational number or not. Are you getting? One might prove root 3 is irrational number by previous method, but that will not be a good method, guys. Now that's not a good idea. Okay. In fact, that will take more time, but it will not be the correct answer as well. Are you getting? So first line should obviously be that only. Let's do it together. We'll assume that the given number is irrational. Let root 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. The starting two lines are same almost in every question of this type. Rational number. That means root 3 plus 2 root 5 can be written as P upon Q or A upon B. You can write A comma B are co-primes and B should be non-zero. Now we can do the cross multiplication here. Yeah, one more mistake some students usually do, they square after cross multiplying. Do not square it here. Okay, at least now. Okay, we'll see how do we square, but not now. So if I cross multiply, I will get root 3b plus 2 root 5b is equal to a. Now here you have to think for a moment. They have given root 5 is irrational number. In the question, they might also give root 3 is irrational number. So whichever statement they give, are you getting? Utilize that fact importantly. Root 5 irrational, whichever they have given irrational, send that term to the right side. Here they have given root 5 is irrational, so I will send this 2 root 5 into b to the right side. If in case they had given root 3 is irrational number, I would have sent this root 3 to the right side. Just remember that, okay? The solution has to change as per the given statement. Are you getting it? So here we are going to send 2 root 5 to the right side. So a minus 2 root 5 into b. And now we will square it. Okay, don't be in hurry to square, because whenever we see rational number question, we immediately think of squaring. Okay, so a little bit of time you should think before you square it. So square both the sides now. Squaring both sides. So left hand side it is 3b square, and right side a minus b the whole square we have to apply, which is a square plus, is it 20b square minus 4 root 5 ab. And then send all the rational numbers to one side and irrational to the other side. So 4 root 5 ab is equal to a square plus 20b square minus 3b square, which is a square plus 17b square. Now 4ab we can transpose to the right side. So left hand side it is just root 5 a square plus 17b square upon 4ab. And again same conclusion we will say. The left hand side is, this is given irrational, and we know that the ratio of two rational number is a rational number, right? So this has to be a rational, right? Isn't it a contradiction? Are irrational number and rational number equal? They are not, right? So since this is not true, that's why our assumption is wrong, and hence we'll conclude that the given number has to be irrational. Please write the conclusion, guys, properly, okay? Conclusion is must. I'm leaving that for you. Is that all right? This is also another important question, okay? Obviously, both the question they will not ask, either the previous question they will ask or this. Okay, so let's do the next question now. We have understood if they ask question of this type, how to handle. So they are asking this time the statement, na? What is fundamental theorem of arithmetic? That is the first theorem you might have learnt in this chapter, na? Real numbers. For previous question, it would be usually 3 marks question, bacha, na? Sometimes they give 5 marks also, but usually it should be a 3 mark question, the previous one. Yeah, this is very easy one actually, right? It's related to the first part of this chapter, na? State the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Yeah, Dhanvin, in that case, if it is a 3-mark question, then you can assume any one of them to be irrational. Okay, no need to prove. But yeah, if they give you 5-mark question there, then you need to prove one of them to be irrational and then use it. I hope you have understood, right? If they do not give anything about any of the number and it is a 3-mark question, you can assume one of them to be irrational. And then you can transpose any one of them to the right side of your own choice, okay? But if it's a 5-mark question, they might tell you to prove one of them to be irrational and then use it. In question, usually it will be very clear, and if it is not clear, then you will get the benefit of doubt, okay? And whatever way you have done, you will get marks for that. Yeah, so I hope all of you have written the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. And after that, finding the LCM of these numbers are not too tough, right? By using prime factorization. So what is the fundamental theorem of arithmetic? It is every composite number, right? Or you can say every natural number actually. Every composite number can be written as prime factors. Except in unique way, right? It's also important to write in unique way. Now every number will have unique prime factorization. Except the order in which primes occur. It is not necessary that you are directly writing the exactly same statement which is written in NCERT. Whatever message or whatever statement you are writing here, if it is equivalent to that statement, still you will get the marks, guys, okay? They don't worry in maths usually whether you are writing the exact thing. And then for finding LCM of this number, I am assuming you know how to do it, right? That should not be a tough task, right? Prime factorization you have to do of 2520 and 1053 and 0, right? And we did many of that type of question. So if you need more time to solve this question, please take screenshot and solve it, okay? This question isn't tough. But in case if you get doubt, in the chat you can write, we'll send the answer, okay, later. Okay guys, so let's move to the next question now. We know how to solve this question. That's why we are not giving any more time to this. Okay, one more word problem question, right? So usually you see that word problem questions aren't lengthy, right? They're actually shorter question. Now if they ask that question, it will not be time taking. So please read the question and finish it quickly, guys. Yeah, please keep asking your doubts in the chat. I'm reading the chat as well so that I can answer your queries. Okay, I think now you all must have done. Na? A circular field has circumference of 360 kilometer. 3 cyclists start together and can go 40 kilometer, 60 kilometer and 70 kilometer a day. After how many days will they meet again at the starting point, right? So if we are not clear what to do it is important sometimes to do some rough sketching, okay, make some diagram. So we have a circular track, okay, and the circumference is 3. So they all are starting from same point at the beginning, you can say, and first person takes 40 kilometers 60, right? So 40 kilometer, can you tell me how many days will he take to complete this circumference? So that has to be 360 upon 40, right? So here we can write first cyclist completes the circumference in 360 upon 40 days, right? That has to be 9 days, na? In 9 days he completes it. Second cyclist, that has to be 360 upon 60, which is 60 days. And then the third one, it has to be 360 upon 72 days. That has to be, this is 6 days only, right? 6 days. Right? It's 5 days. Now, do we need to take the LCM of this number or HCF? So the question is, do we need to take LCM or HCF? The question is, they all are starting at this point, right? So first person, let's again understand the question. First person will take 9 days to come back to this place. Second person will take 6 days. Third person will take 5 days to come to this place, right? So after how many minimum days will they be again meeting at the same point only? That is the question. So it has to be the LCM, guys, okay? Because similar situation arose in the earlier question also, where 3 bells were tolling together when 3 people were moving in a line. So it has to be the LCM. Are you getting? So LCM of these numbers 9, 6 and 5 will be how much? That's too easy to find, right? You can even do prime factorization here. 3 square, 2 into 3, and this is 5. So it has to be 2 into 3 square into 5. That is 90. Now 90. That means these people will again meet at the initial point in 90 days. The question was initial point. It is possible that they might be meeting at some other point also, but that's not the question. Again at the same point, when are they meeting? So it has to be 90 days. After 90 days only they will meet. Are you getting? So that's why this question they have given for 3 marks. Are you getting? Please read it properly now. Let's not make any mistake in these kind of question. Yeah, one more doubt or common mistake students make is they find directly LCM of these numbers, which is not correct, guys, okay? Question is, we have to understand first what is the, how many days are they needed to complete one round here. Are you getting it? So it's important to do that. Okay, once again you can revise this kind of question after the class also. Okay, if you have confusion, if you are 100% clear, no need to do that again. Okay guys, let's do the next question now. Yeah, they will always give you the multiple Tanvik, otherwise they will never be able to meet again. Are you getting it? If they do not give the factor in the previous question, that 360 360 was multiple of all those 3 peoples were taking to complete. If that's not multiple, the answer will be they will never be meeting at the same point ever again, even if they keep on moving throughout their life. I hope you have understood. Even if they do not tell you that, again, after initial point, right? Again, how many days after the initial day they will meet at the same point? Then also will find the LCM only, Mukund, okay? There also will find the LCM only, okay? But there we do not have to find this point, okay? Yeah, that's a very good dot actually. What if they had not mentioned? Let's go back to the previous question. What if they had not mentioned after how many days they are meeting at starting point? So if they just tell you after how many days, in fact, the question will not be that. They will tell you after traveling for how much distance will they meet again. Then the answer has to be just the LCM of these numbers. Okay, good, na? Please ask your doubts na whenever you get. Sometimes it is helpful to other students also if you ask these doubts. Good, okay. I hope you guys have understood now. So let's move to the question now, the next one. A rectangular courtyard is of this dimension. It is to be paved with the square tiles of the same size. Find the least possible number of tiles. Yeah, please read the question. It's a decent one. Yeah, Hema, in that case, it will be 360 kilometer, I guess, na, the LCM of those numbers. Please read the question and think what is the suitable method for this. Shall we find LCM, HCF, or anything else? And again, the dimensions has meter and centimeter both parts. So we should convert everything in centimeter only, right? So 18 meter 72 centimeter is basically 1872 centimeter. 13 meter and 20 centimeter is basically 1320 centimeter. And one more thing, they have used meter centimeter. Sometimes they play game, they also use millimeter and all, okay? So there it's more tedious actually, yeah? We will convert everything in terms of millimeter in that case, right? Find the least possible number of tiles. So they are asking how many minimum tiles you need to use to pave this courtyard, guys, right? So first thing we should do, LCM or HCF, right? We must first find out the size of the each tile, right? What will be the dimension of each tile? It's already given that it has to be a square, right? So we must find the HCF, because you can understand, if I find out the LCM of these, then that has to be a bigger number. You cannot have that big tile to pave this courtyard, right? You have to use the smaller, right, smaller tiles to pave this path. So first of all, we have to find out the HCF of these two number, and to find HCF we have to do the prime factorization. Does it make sense to you? If it doesn't, try to understand, okay? Check what is missing. So 1872, I'm writing it as, yeah, it is divisible by 4, or even it is divisible by 3. So 3 times 624, 3 times, again it is divisible by 3, so 3 times 208. Okay, you can do direct prime factorization in rough page and write also, okay? I'm doing it here. So this is 3 times 3, okay, 3 square we can write directly, into 208 we can factorize, it's divisible by 4. So 52 into 4. So finally this is 13 into 2 square. So finally the prime factors of these are 2 raised to 4 into 3 raised to 2 into 13. Please check that. And 13, 120, 132, right? So it can take 66 into 2 into 10, 11 into 2 square into 3. This prime factorization you guys can do in the rough page and directly write the final answer, which is 2 raised to 3 into 3 into 5 into 11. Therefore, the HCF of this number has to be the smallest power of 2 in this is 2 raised to 3. Then we have 3 raised to 1. Correct, na? That's all, nothing else. So it is 24. Are you getting? That means the tile which you are using has to have the length and breadth 24, guys. Okay, then only we can completely pave the given courtyard. We haven't found the final answer yet. They are asking how many tiles are required. So therefore, the number of tiles has to be the total area of the path or courtyard which we have to pave upon area of the one square. So it has to be 1872 centimeter into 1320 centimeter upon what is the area of one of the tile? It is 24 square. That means 24 into 24. And it's better to use the prime factors only so that calculation is easier for you. So this is basically 2 raised to 4 into 3 square into 13 into 2 raised to 3 into 3 into 5 into 11 upon 24. 24 has prime factors 2 raised to 3 into 3, 2 raised to 3 into 3. You have your own way of calculation, guys, okay? Since I don't like multiplication and all, I'm just trying to have another method here. So 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 3. 2 is left, 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 3. This 3 got cancelled with this 3 with 1, 3, right? Now finally, how many tiles are required? That we have got. So it is 2 into 3 into 13 into 5 into 11. Yeah, we can multiply. There is a lot of tiles required, obviously, because the area was big. Now 18 meter is a big length actually. Yeah, these many tiles are required actually, na? So apart from finding out the HCF, it was also important. And if you just complete it till here, guys, they might give you just 1.5 marks for that. Now this second step is very important. I hope you have understood, right? We had to first find the HCF to know the dimension of each tile. And then if you have to find total number of tiles required, you have to divide the area of the courtyard with the area of the tile. Got it? Now let's do the next question. If you are able to do these word problems, that means you have good grasp over understanding of LCM and HCF part, na? Yeah, this is another question which shouldn't be tough for you. I just gave one question of this type, na? Usually they give just this part only, numerator or denominator, but here I have given you the ratio of two irrational number. Are you getting it? Just it's a new way to ask, but it's not a completely different question. First of all, to prove this question or this number, whether it's rational or irrational, we should simplify it, na? Write it in the simplest form. And to write this number into the simplest form, you know you have to do rationalization, which you have learnt in class 9th only, guys. So first you rationalize and then follow the normal procedure, okay? It's also given that root 2 is irrational number, so you don't have to think, na? Or prove it, okay? It's already given. So first of all, in the solution, we'll simplify, okay? So 3 plus root 2. Yeah, one might directly take it as rational, okay? Without rationalizing. That's also fine, guys, okay? I don't think there is any harm in that, okay? That way also you will be able to prove it, okay? So both the ways are correct only. So I am doing rationalization here. It's up to you whether you want to do rationalization or directly assume it, okay? Both of them will be perfectly right method. 2 minus root 2. So if I rationalize, it's 2 plus root 2 upon 2 plus root 2, which is 6 plus 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2 plus 2 upon 4 minus 2. Combine the like terms, 8 plus 5 root 2 upon 2. And now we can name, let given number is rational. If it is a rational, we can write 8 plus 5 root 2 upon 2 is equal to a upon b, cross multiply 8b plus 5 root 2b is equal to 2a. Take rational one side, irrational other side. So root 2 is basically 2a minus 8b upon 5b, right? We didn't have to square here, okay? So have clear idea when to square and when not to. This is rational number because it is operations on rational numbers, and this is given irrational. Even if in the question they had not given it, we could have assumed because it's a 3-mark question. So that's wrong, na? Rational and irrational cannot be same. So you will simply write the conclusion. Our assumption is wrong. Hence, it has to be irrational number, right? Okay, Swara, you still have doubt? In the previous question, 24 was basically the length of the each square of the tile beta. I hope we have understood this question now. This is how we have to solve. It's a different way to ask. So, and you can understand now, earlier they used to ask very simple question. Now they have done little bit modifications so that they can test your understanding. Are you getting? Let's do the next one now. Okay, so these were the 3-mark question. Now let's do few 5-mark question as well. Okay, I have not taken much because from this chapter 5-mark question can be just to prove root 2 is irrational or root 3 is irrational, or by using that prove some other number to be irrational. Yeah, this is the question I have taken. Yes, Dhanvin, that's correct. In all of these questions, we have to bring rational terms to one side, irrational to other side, and then write the final conclusion. So even this question partially we have done. Both the type of questions separately we have done, but here they have asked you prove that root 5 is an irrational number and hence show that 2 minus 3 root 5 is irrational number. So I don't think you will have any problem here, right? Here there are two parts of the question. First we have to prove this, and we already did one question, right? Prove that root 3 is irrational number. In place of 3, everywhere you just change by 5, you will be able to prove that. And now if you have to prove that this is irrational number, again you will assume that 2 minus 3 root 5 is irrational. Rational you will assume. You will take it as P upon Q or A upon B and follow the previous methods, guys. Okay, it's not at all new question. We have just combined two previous questions together here. Yeah, in 5-mark question they might sometimes just ask you this part. Okay, just this part. So I don't think we have to give any time to this question, right? After the class also you can try solving this question, but please practice this. Fine, guys. Yeah, so that was the only 5-mark question I had taken, because some of the 3-mark question which we discussed were also, that can also be asked in 5-mark question, guys. Yeah, I have taken one case based question here. So in all of this session, actually I have taken all the type of question they ask in the exams, guys. Okay, so it will be a complete preparation for you of all type of questions. MCQs, assertion reason, 2 marks, 3 marks and 5 marks, right? They only ask questions of this type only. So please solve this question. This is the final question of the day. Read the assertion properly. You know that in that case based questions, reading the question takes time. So please read. Once you have read, solving will not be a big deal. Please read the question and try to solve it by your own. Right? Read the question. It's very interesting. A teacher went to a class and asked student to choose a prime number and multiply it by 2. Then he passed this number to a second student and asked chooses a prime number and multiply then. So this process is keep on going. Are you getting? So after reading the question, I think you might be getting the idea. This is simply related to the factor tree. You remember in none of the question I discussed factor tree. And since I told you I wanted to cover each and every concept of this chapter in this session, so that's why I took one question where we had to use the factor tree. We know the factor tree concept, right? Just apply that. So what teacher has done? He went to one child, right? So the first prime number, which is factor of the given number, has to be 2, right? And multiplied by 2, then he passed, right? Let's read the next part, what it says. Then he passed the number to third student, asked them to choose a prime number, multiply. If this process is done, then with all the students exactly once, and the last student got the number is 173250, right? That means we basically have to do prime factorization of the last number, right? 173250. It's a big number, you can understand. So let's do the prime factorization. First prime factor is 2, right? So divide that by 2 and see what is the other number we are getting. Please do that. It will take only time to make the factor tree. After that, it's not going to be a tough task, no? So 8, 6, 6, 2, 5, right? And now the next student, no, next number which is can divide this number is either 3 or 5, na? And we know the divisibility rule of 3, right? Is this number multiple of 3? Right? It is, right? So we should divide that by 3 now. So 3, if 3 is the one number, then it has to be 2, right? Now we will divide this by 5. Again, it is divisible by 5, right? Check whether it is divisible by 7. Is it divisible by 7? I think it's not, right? What is the next number it is divisible by? Check karo and tell me the answer. Have you guys completed it? Yeah, have I made mistake in this? Check karo. I think it's 7, right? Yeah, it is, right? And then when we divide by 5, right? But we should actually follow the order, guys. Now, in this case, I did not check the order. Na? In fact, you should have checked now after dividing by 3. Do we have another factor of 3? Right? So, here to check that, you can check the sum of the digits, right? It was again divisible by 3. So, you should have divided by 3 here first and then 5. Are you getting? Please, in the answer which you are writing in the board exam, take care of the order. Na? So finally what we are getting 173250 can be written as 2 raised to 1 into 3 is coming 2 times into 5 is coming 3 times into 7 into 11, right? Now let's answer those questions. How many students are in the class? Right? So it has to be, because 2 was the number chosen by the teacher. So it has to be these, right? 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1. 7. Total number of students are 7 in the class. What is the highest prime number used by the student? So that has to be 11. Which prime has been used maximum number of times? That has to be 5, right? 5 is used 3 times. What is the sum of all the primes used in the by the student? So you have to add 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 11. That is 8 plus 18. Now that is 26. So 26 is the sum of all the primes which are used by the students. Yeah. So factor tree has to be done properly. Okay. What I have done, I just changed the order, but it shouldn't be the case. In factor tree, first we should divide by 2. Okay. If all 2's are exhausted, then we should check 3. If all 3's are exhausted, then 5 and so on. Are you getting it? Yeah. This should be the procedure, guys. So we answered this question. Another question in case study they might ask is the word problem, the type of question we did earlier. It will be better actually, Mukund, if you draw the factor tree. Na? Even if you don't do the factor tree and answer this question, you will get full marks. There will not be marks deduction because they have not mentioned to draw factor tree. Are you getting? But if they mention to use factor tree, you have to do that only. And you know what kind of question they ask on the factor tree, right? You know that whenever we are making factor tree of this way, right? If I have a number x here and here it is y. Are you getting? This number has to be x into y, right? If this is z and this is p, then when you multiply these two, it has to be y. Y is zp, right? Those kind of question in MCQ also can be asked, or 2 marks. Please pay attention to those kind of question. Okay guys, so these are the type of question I have discussed. I have tried to take all the possible type of questions in this chapter. So now what you do, go to our website and practice those questions once again. And today in the evening, we will have another session at 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Okay, and there we are going to discuss polynomial chapter. Similar session will be there. I will try to take all the type of questions and cover the concept thoroughly. Okay, and in fact in those I will discuss the formulas also used. Okay, that's all for today then. See you in the evening at 6 p.m. Bye guys.